Hey Star Wars fans, my name is Prince and I'm an urban acolyte, and in this video I'm going to take up the question as to whether or not Chirrut Imwe can actually use the Force. So when we first see Chirrut Imwe in the trailer, it's really awesome. Donnie Yen comes out, he says, "I fear nothing. All is as the Force wills it." And to me that sounds like something out of Taoism, right? You don't need to have any fear, just go with the Tao. Harmonize with the Tao and you basically surrender yourself up to whatever's gonna happen. You become part of the flow. So what someone on the panel said is that, well, in their opinion, Chirrut cannot use the Force, but he worships it. And that raises a question, is the Force something that you worship, right? When I listen to everyone on the Collider, different shows talk about the Force, the Church of the Force, for me as a theologian, I find a lot of the language problematic, but this is what I went to college to study and studied in grad school. So naturally, I'm going to be sensitive to the language that's used. But then again, the question came up as to whether or not he can use the Force. And I think that's a question that we've all got to wrestle with. Does using the Force mean you have to be Force sensitive? And I'm going to come back to that. But again, the whole idea of him worshiping the Force brought up the question about what is the Church of the Force. Now, people who belong to the Church of the Force don't use the Force, but they follow the Force, they believe in the Force. Christian Harloff commented that, well, maybe he could be like Maz Kanata. Maz Kanata knows and studies the Force, and in the deleted scene that hopefully comes out on the new DVD set that'll come out November 15th, we'll actually see the scene where she uses the Force to collapse part of the castle on those stormtroopers who come and take Finn's gun away from him. That's a deleted scene we did see. Hopefully we see the magic, literally the magic happen in a new deleted scene. And that brought up the question of whether or not Maz is Force sensitive, or did she just somehow teach herself how to use the Force? So is there the possibility that Chirrut Imwe can also use the Force? So first off, let me touch on the Church of the Force. So this information is coming out of the Visual Dictionary for Star Wars The Force Awakens. It says that Lord San Tekka is a keeper of the faith. Though San Tekka is not Force sensitive, he has witnessed its power firsthand. During the dark times of Emperor Palpatine's rule, San Tekka was a follower of the Church of the Force. This underground faith was made up of loosely affiliated worshippers of the Jedi ideals who steadfastly believed that one day their light would return to the galaxy. And people seek out Lord San Tekka because he's uncovered much of the history of the Jedi Knights that the Galactic Empire had tried so hard to erase. Others are now seeking him for his knowledge of Jedi secrets. So it sounds like the Church of the Force was something that was established between the periods of Order 66, when the Jedi were slaughtered, and the Rebellion period, so the dark periods, right? But we've really got to understand the idea that there were lots of different religions that were present before the empire was established. All these different religions were made illegal, and I think I said that in another video when I talked about the planet Jeddah, or as far as its meaning to the belief in the Force and its different expressions in these different religions throughout the galaxy. Emperor Palpatine made all of that illegal. So that's why you had this underground thing, and I feel like the Church of the Force was all of these different religions, these different ways of knowing the Force coming together under one singular banner. And we actually see that in Star Wars Rebels, in the episode that deals with Zeb and how he finds his people. The shaman in that episode talks about the Ashla, and Ezra asks her about the Ashla, and she says it is the spirit of the universe. Kanan tells Ezra that there are many different ways of talking about the Force throughout the galaxy. Now, what was interesting for me when she said that is that in the Legends version of how the Jedi Order begins, they go to Tython. You have two moons on Tython. One has a light side, which is the Ashla. The other has a dark side, which is the Bogan. And so for the Tythonians who become the first Jedi, in the Legends canon, they believe in balance. You have to balance the Ashla and the Bogan, otherwise you have bad things that happen on the planet Tython. So they believe in balancing the dark and the light, literally. Now, to quickly touch on Maz, there was the question about Maz being Force sensitive and how she taught herself the Force. So on her entry in the visual dictionary, it says that in recent decades, Maz has kept secret of one of her greatest strengths, an affinity for the Force. Though she is known Jedi and has a few tall tales regarding encounters with knights and masters, she never walked that path herself, instead relying on her strong connection to the Force to keep her out of danger. Now there is this question of semantics. What does it mean for Maz to have a strong affinity to the Force? Does that mean that she's Force sensitive? Even though this is the word that shall never be said, does she have a high midi-chlorian count? Is that that high midi-chlorian count gives her a deep connection to the Force? Or did she do something in the 900 years she's been alive to allow herself to be strongly connected to the Force? How does she know the Force, as she says to Rey? And the reason I'm taking things there is because this is a question that I've had for a long time. See, what I think is that maybe there is a different kind of religion that is practiced on the planet Jedha, and maybe the Jedi Order sprang from this. In the first video I did on the planet Jedha, being the home world of the Jedi, I asked the question, well, why is there a planet Jedha, but then you have the first Jedi temple on Ahch-To? And some people said, well, they founded the Jedi Order on Ahch-To at the temple, and then they went to Jedha. And I think you guys, just in my opinion, have it backwards. I think that some people left Jedha and started the Jedi Order when they built this temple on this other planet. Meaning, I think there was a schism within this religion. There was some people who maybe they were Force sensitive. And they decided to go and contemplate the Force on this other planet where they could be in solitude and lead a monastic lifestyle. Maybe the Jedi Order sprang from that. But what about all these people back on Jedha? And this touches on the thing from the Legends canon about the Tythonians, right? The people who stayed on Tython were the Force sensitives who underwent the Jedi training. The people who weren't Force sensitive had to leave, right? What if it's the other way around here, where everyone on Jedha practiced this religion? The people who were Force sensitive left, took up this monastic lifestyle, which became the Jedi Order. But now you've got other people, and maybe within that population, there are still people with this deep connection to the Force, sensitive to the Force, but they elected not to leave. They elected not to become Jedi. So now you have this schism. You have the Jedi Order, but you've got people still following Jedi teachings that aren't Jedi. So I think that Donnie Yen's character would fall within this group. Now, whether he's Force sensitive or not, that's again another question that I have for the story group that I hope we learn about as we move into this new way of knowing the Force. Because a lot of people say, well, think of the Force as being like chi. So in chi theory, there is this idea of having prenatal chi and postnatal chi. Prenatal chi comes from your parents. It's the chi that you're born with. The equivalent of that would be like this midi-chlorian stuff for people being born as Force sensitives, right? They're born with a high sensitivity to the Force. But in Star Wars, we don't have the idea of postnatal chi. And postnatal chi means the things you do throughout your life to accumulate more chi. The equivalent in Star Wars would mean that I should be able to train myself to become sensitive to the Force, to develop a deeper connection to the Force, right? It's like saying Anakin Skywalker had a lot of prenatal chi, but he didn't become like some kind of Force god or something as the chosen one, because he didn't do a lot of things during his life to cultivate more chi, more connection to the Force. Or maybe he did as Darth Vader, but he connected a stronger connection, a stronger affinity to the dark side of the Force, right? So that's a question that I'm going to leave you all with. Do you think that it is possible for someone to train themselves throughout their life to become to develop a deeper connection to the Force. And before you say no, look at Chirrut Imwe's character, a blind guy who's dodging shots from blaster rifles. He fears nothing because he is in harmony with the Force. Is that all in his mind, or is he actually talking about what he feels? Has he trained himself to develop a deeper connection to the Force? So I would like to hear from you all. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section down below, and I'll be checking back for your responses. So if you haven't subscribed already, go ahead and click on that subscribe button so that you can take your first steps towards becoming an Urban Acolyte. This is Vlogust, and I'll be uploading 7 days a week. My next video should be a review of the Breaking Ranks episode from Star Wars Rebels. And I may have to do a Holocron hangout with Chris Perillo in a few minutes. Actually, we should be starting now. So as soon as I get this video completed, I'm going to get on that Rebels review video. I may get it up tonight. If not, then it'll be up sometime early tomorrow. But in the future, look for those Rebels review videos on Sundays. I kind of hurt my ankle, so I'm kind of slacking today. Anyway, that's all I've got for this video. Thanks for watching. Y'all keep on breathing, and may the Force be with you always.